Look around America for just a second. The stores are full. People are still buying houses. The stock market looks strong. So why are some of the biggest investors in the world preparing for something that looks a lot like 2008? There's one market quietly flashing a warning that almost nobody is paying attention to. And if it's right, home prices, mortgages, and your financial future could change much sooner than you think. Before you make your next financial decision, you need to see what the bond market is telling us.
Look around you. If you walk into a grocery store, a movie theater, or a restaurant right now, it might look like everything is totally fine. The shelves are stocked, the lights are on, and people are still out spending money. But underneath this shiny surface, a silent alarm is screaming. You've probably felt the squeeze in your own life. Maybe it's that shock when you look at your receipt and realize a simple trip to the store cost double what it did a few years ago. Maybe it's the fact that things that used to be free, like towels at the gym, a little complimentary dessert at your favorite diner, or even a plastic shopping bag, now come with a price tag. But while we are looking at our grocery bills, the smartest money on the planet is looking at something else. They are looking at the bond market. Most people think the stock market is the boss of the financial world. It's not. The bond market is the absolute anchor of global finance. It is the massive, heavy-duty engine that dictates what you pay for your car, your credit card, and most importantly, your home. Right now, the bond market is sending a signal that we haven't seen since the darkest days of the 2008 financial crisis. It's screaming that the housing market as we know it is hitting a wall. In this video, we aren't going to overwhelm you with confusing Wall Street jargon. We are going to break down exactly what the bond market is doing, how it connects to the vacant homes piling up in states like Texas, and most importantly, how you can protect your family and your hard-earned money from the squeeze. To understand why the housing market is stalling, we have to start with a very simple, honest truth that no one in Washington wants to admit. Our purchasing power of our money has been decimated. There's a massive generational disconnect happening in America today. If you talk to older generations, they might still treat a $100 bill like a massive amount of money, but the reality on the ground is that the $100 bill is the new $20 bill. Let's put that in perspective. Just a couple of decades ago, if you graduated high school and landed a job making $10 or $12 an hour, you were doing pretty well. You could actually afford a modest apartment of your own. But today, if you wanted to match the purchasing power of that $10 an hour wage from back then, you would need to make $28 to $29 an hour straight out of high school. And because wages haven't kept pace with this reality, the basic American dream of owning a home has become an impossible hurdle for everyday individuals. Landlords and massive apartment communities have weaponized this high barrier of entry, squeezing renters for every single dollar they have. Think about the rent inflation. If you rented a luxury apartment in the DMV or Baltimore area back in 2020, you might have paid around $1,500 a month. Today, that exact same shoebox of an apartment, often under 800 square feet, costs $2,100 to $2,200 a month, and that is before you pay for utilities, parking, and fees. How are young people, families, or anyone trying to build a future supposed to save or get ahead when the baseline cost of existing consumes their entire paycheck? It has gotten so extreme that we're starting to see the rise of micro apartments and pod apartments across expensive cities like San Francisco. Imagine living in a 64 square foot walk-in closet with absolutely no kitchen and sharing a single bathroom with up to 8 strangers. For a room with no window, it will cost you $750 a month. If you want a window, that's considered a luxury and will run you $900 a month. This is not a sign of a thriving, booming economy. It is the sign of an extreme housing squeeze. And the root of this entire crisis traces back to a technical, heavy-hitting corner of the financial market: real yields. Okay, let's make the bond market simple. When governments and corporations need to borrow massive amounts of money, they issue bonds. In exchange for buying these bonds, investors demand an interest rate, which we call a yield. Lately, the bond market has been dealing with an absolute mountain of pressure. There are a few major things pushing bond yields higher. Geopolitical risks. global tensions are driving up energy and oil prices. When energy costs go up, inflation expectations rise with them. Deficits and oversupply. The government is running massive deficits, and corporate giants like hyperscalers are flooding the market with a historic supply of corporate bonds. The crowding out effect. With so much corporate debt flooding the system, treasury investments are being crowded out. To convince investors to buy government debt, the market is demanding massive concessions, meaning yields have to go higher. This has pushed 30-year real yields, which are the actual yields adjusted for inflation, upward to levels we haven't seen since the 2008 global financial crisis. Why does a 30-year real yield matter to you? Because it is the foundation that banks use to set the interest rates on 30-year home mortgages. When real yields spike, mortgage rates shoot through the roof. At the same time, the Federal Reserve is completely backed into a corner. For decades, the Fed acted like they had absolute control over the economy, but their track record of forecasting inflation and keeping it stable over the last several years has been incredibly poor. The truth is, the Fed has largely lost control. The market knows their tools have lost their potency, and professional traders are starting to ignore what the Fed says entirely. They are looking at the raw math of the bond market instead. And the raw math of the bond market is telling us that the cost of borrowing money is going to remain high, painful, and restrictive. When borrowing costs stay this high, the housing market doesn't just slow down, it begins to freeze. And if you want to see the future of American real estate, you need to look at Texas. For the last few years, Texas was the ultimate promised land. Hundreds of thousands of people were moving there from other states to find affordable housing and a lower cost of living. But today, the story has completely flipped. People have stopped moving in, and many are actively moving out. Right now, the Lone Star State is sitting on a mountain of empty, unsold homes. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there are over 28,000 homes sitting on the market. In San Antonio, there are over 13,500 listings. In Houston, the inventory is climbing just as fast. We're in the middle of summer, historically the prime time when families buy and sell homes, yet the market is completely stagnant. Buyers have hit their financial limits, and these homes are just sitting there, empty and quiet. This freeze is hitting everyone from small independent contractors to the biggest corporations in the country. Take residential plumbers in Texas, for example. Many of them are reporting that residential service has slowed down to an absolute crawl. People don't have the spare cash for upgrades or non-emergent repairs. But the biggest warning sign of all comes from America's largest home builder. They just announced a massive sweeping cut to the number of homes they will build this year. Why? Because of high-scale mortgage interest rates and the unaffordable cost of building materials. When the biggest home builder in the country throws in the towel and stops building, you know the market is in deep trouble. For everyday sellers who are trying to compete with these big builders, this is a massive wake-up call. If you want to sell a home in Dallas, Houston, or San Antonio right now, you can't rely on the old rules. You either have to make major improvements to the property, or more likely, you have to slash your price. The spring and summer buying seasons have come and gone, and prices are only moving in one direction, down.
This brings us to the human heart of this crisis. We are living in two completely different Americas right now. On one hand, you have about 40% of the population, roughly 109 million people, who are doing completely fine. They hold high-paying, coveted positions, their kids go to great schools, and they have the disposable income to keep going out to dinners, movies, and vacations. But on the other hand, you have the other 60% of Americans who are absolutely not okay. 60% is a failing grade for any society. These are the millions of hardworking people who are living paycheck to paycheck, running up historic credit card debt just to buy basic necessities and working 2 or 3 jobs just to survive. We are seeing major corporations run lean as hell to protect their record profits. They are slashing employee hours and forcing their remaining staff to do the work of multiple people for the same flat pay. For instance, workers at retail giants like Walmart are reporting that their hours are being cut by 6 hours a week or more, leaving them stressed out, overworked, and struggling to make ends meet. Some warehouses that used to run with 40 employees are now operating with just 14, squeezing every ounce of labor out of the few who are left. It has gotten so bad that we now live in a country where it is actually cheaper to rent a vehicle by the day to drive for Uber or food delivery services than it is to actually buy, finance, and maintain a car of your own. Every morning, swarms of people gather at rental lots just to get a car so they can go out and deliver food to make a basic living. And behind all of this is the devastating reality of what happens when life catches up to people. Layoffs are hitting hard, even for workers who have dedicated 16 years of their lives to a single company. Homelessness is rising. Everyday people are visiting donation boxes just to ask for items before they are even dropped off, simply to get by. This is the real face of the invisible recession. The headline economic numbers might look great for the top 40%, but for the majority of the country, the financial pressure has reached a boiling point. It is very easy to look at these numbers, look at the bond market, and feel completely overwhelmed or angry, and you have every right to feel that way. But anger alone won't protect your family. We can't control what the Federal Reserve does. We can't control the global bond yields, but we can control how we prepare. If you want to survive and thrive through this housing correction, you need a practical blueprint. Protect your income. If you have a job, focus on becoming absolutely indispensable. If you are looking to build a career, understand that the old $7.25 federal minimum wage is completely unlivable. Aim for industries and skills that pay a true living wage so you don't get trapped in the low-wage squeeze. Aggressively pay down high-interest debt. With interest rates and credit card rates through the roof, carrying a balance is a financial emergency. Every dollar you pay off is a guaranteed return on your investment. Build your liquid cash. When the housing market in places like Texas correction continues to drop, cash is going to be king. If you are a buyer, do not rush into a bad deal. Be patient. Let the inventory build. Let motivated sellers drop their prices and wait for the right moment to strike. Lean into community. We need to support each other, whether it's